right, so this learning target, it's not actually a section from the textbook. It is just solving polynomial equations using factoring and then the zero product property as our tool for that. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. That's our one learning target. Oh, come on. What happened? Oh. There it is. Sorry about that. All right, so we got 4 examples here, as you can see, hopefully. So let's just get started. So we've got 12x squared plus 18x equals 0. Now, kind of the first instinct here is like subtract and divide, right? But we've got this x and this x. So there's an x squared and there's an x. It's going to be easiest, in general, to write this as a multiplication problem, then use the zero product property, which is what we've been working on in Chapter 7 anyway. So let's go ahead and factor it out. We've got 12x squared and 18x. We're going to look at it and we're going to say, hey, what divides into both of those? Whoop, 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 whoop. So what divides in 12 and 18? Think about it. Well, we got 2, we got 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 divides into both of them. That's actually the greatest common factor between the two. So we're going to factor out that 6. And then we've got an x squared and an x. We're going to factor out an x from that. So we have a 6x that we factored out. Essentially, we're just factoring this. All right, we divide. 2x is left over from this division. And then here we get 3. It's addition, so we keep it as addition. So now we have a multiplication problem equals 0. So we just take each factor, each thing that's being multiplied in that multiplication problem, and make it equal 0, solve, get our answers. So here we go. 6x equals 0. Well, I'll divide by 6. X equals 0. Or we take this, 2x plus 3 equals 0. Subtract 3. 2x equals negative 3. Divide by 2. X equals negative 3 over 2. Boom, 2 answers. Got it. Dunzo. That one should be fairly easy. Let's look at the next one. X squared minus 5x minus 6 equals 0. Once again, it's subtraction, addition, if you want to think of the x squared as a plus. But basically, addition, subtraction equals 0. That's a challenging problem, right? If we wanted to solve by undoing, we would have to like add, undo the square by square rooting. Then we'd have a square root of x, but nope. So what we're going to do is we're going to factor, write a multiplication problem equals 0, and then use that zero product property. So here, right, because it's just a 1x squared, I can just use the idea that like, hey, blank plus blank equals negative 5, blank times blank equals negative 6. I need, and that's a multiply. It doesn't really look like a multiply, it's times. I need 2 numbers that add to negative 5 and multiply to negative 6. Now resist the urge just to jump to 3 and 2, because yeah, those add to 5, but we need a negative 5. And it has to multiply to a negative 6. Right, so multiplying to negative 6, it's got to be 1 positive, 1 negative. So if we had 2 and 3, that would add to 1 or negative 1, because they're 1 apart. So we need 2 numbers that are 5 apart, that multiply to 6, we multiply to negative 6, and that's going to be negative 6 and 1. So here I have negative 6 and 1, that adds negative 5 and multiplies to negative 6. So it's x minus 6 times x plus 1 equals 0. Zero product property says, hey, if we got things that are multiplied together equal 0, well, each thing could be 0. When each one is 0, that's a solution. So I just take this x minus 6 equals 0, take this x plus 1, set it equal to 0, add 6, x equals 6 is one solution, or the other solution, subtract 1, x equals negative 1 is the other solution. Circle them both. Throw a little or in between. It's not and. It can't be both at the same time. It could be one or the other. All right. Here we got a 2x squared minus x minus 15 equals 0. Once again, we're going to factor first. Get it so it's something times something equals 0. And then use a zero product property. Set each thing equal to 0. And solve. So in this case, we are going to use our area model. We're going to throw the 2x squared in the top left. We're going to throw the negative 15 in the bottom right. And I'll say blank plus blank equals -1 because it's a negative x. Remember, these two add to give you that. And then blank times blank equals the product of these. So when we have a coefficient that's not 1 on that x squared, we got to remember that the product of these two boxes is the same as the product of those two boxes. I'm looking for these numbers that are going to go in these boxes, and then I can factor out and find the two things that multiply to give me that and go from there. So it's going to multiply to -30. Why -30? Because it's 2 times -15 to give -30. So here I think what multiplies to -30? Well, -6 and 5. Right? There's lots of things that multiply to -30. This is the one that's going to add up to -1. So I throw a -6x and a positive 5x down. I say, okay, got that, perfect. I need to find what multiplies to fill in this box. So I'm going to start with my x squared. I'm going to say 2x times x gives me x squared. Divide this -6 by 2. So 2x times -3 is -6x. And then I'm going to put a 5 here because x times 5 is 5x. Double check, yeah, -3 and 5, that makes -15 when we multiply, remember we're multiplying. So here I have x minus 3 times 2x plus 5 equals 0. But it's still equal to 0, I still got to solve. So now is when we use that zero product property. X minus 3 equals 0, because it's this times this equals 0, so either this is 0 or the 2x plus 5 is 0. So we go 2x plus 5 equals 0. We set up our two equations and just solve each equation. So boom, plus 3, x equals 3, or here subtract 5, 2x equals -5, undo by divide by 2, or x equals -5 over 2. Boom, those are our two solutions. Got it. All right, let's take a look-see at problem 4 here. So problem 4, we've got this x squared minus 36. Yeah, that is a difference of 2 squares, but it's not equal to 0. If it was just this, if it was just equal to 0 here, we would factor, say saying equal to 0. Because it's equal to -5x, what we want to do, we don't have a -5x property, we have a zero product property. So we need to take this and make it equal 0. The way we make it equal 0 is either by making this 0, by subtracting x squared and adding 36 to each side, or making that equal 0 by adding 5x to each side. I would rather make that equal 0. So I'm going to go plus 5x to make that a 0. So here I get x squared plus 5x minus 36 equals 0. And it's a problem that's just like problem 2 up here. Almost exactly, but different because the numbers are slightly different. So here I've just noticed it's regular x squared, so I can just go blank plus blank equals 5. Blank times blank equals -36. I need two numbers that multiply to -36 and add to 5. Think about it. Process in your noggin. What'd you get? You should have gotten a 9 and a -4. A 9 and a -4. That adds to 5, multiplies to -36. So that means x plus 9 times x minus 4 equals 0. Boop, boop. And then we just zero product property it up. X plus 9 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. Subtract 9, add 4. X equals -9, or x equals 4. Boom, got the answer. So, when you are solving a polynomial equation and it's equal to 0, just factor it and then use the zero product property. If it's equal to something that's not 0, make it equal 0 by doing the opposite of whatever it's equal to over here. So it was a -5x or a -5x, so we add 5x. Do the opposite, make it equal 0, factor it. So it's a bunch of things multiplied equal to 0. Set each of those things multiplied equal to 0. Find your answers. Awesome. Comment below if you have them. Enjoy.